bread. Every time I went there, that's what he's eating. I always seem to go in at that time he's eating. And he always said to me, "Come on in, young fella. Have a seat." And I sit there and we'll have to watch him eat. But the thing about him was that he would start talking. Whatever came to his mind. If he was talking about white man's ways and white man's history, he spoke in English to me. And he would tell me all these things. He would tell me about peoples around the world and what they went through and their religions, their beliefs, their wars. He'd tell me all about these things. But when he talked about ways and so on, he always spoke Neha. And I was one of those lucky ones that I could hear what he was saying. I could see what he was saying. It was beautiful to listen to him. He would talk about Gayaregoa. He would talk about the ceremonies. He would talk about our history. He just blew my mind up with the knowledge that this man had. And to this day, I have the greatest respect for him. But one thing, and I try to let people know, I will not put him on a pedestal. I will not put him above us all. But I have the greatest respect. Because one thing I've learned about Mohawk now is when a man is encouraged to take on his role as a man, that he has certain responsibilities. And to know what real responsibility, a man should have been able to learn about his people. And when he decides he wants to find a partner in life, that he must be good to her. He must give of himself and be equal in the responsibilities with her, that he proved to himself and he proved to his wife that he's something, that he's a real man. But then, he should, with his partner, bring children into this world. And he must demonstrate that he is a father. That he takes the time to love his children. To be there for his children. To support them. And to raise them. That's Rumbe. That is a man. But one thing about Tekarontake, he never married. He never had children. And when I would hear the older ones talk about this, of what is the expectation, they say, if a man had never gotten married, if he had never had children, and he had never shown that he was a responsible person, they said he'll never really know what responsibility is. But I would look at Tekarontake and I say, he never had a wife. I don't even know if he ever had a girlfriend. But he didn't have children. And yet, that man, ever since I knew him, gave his life to the people. He took out of his pocket to help in our struggle. He paid for all the printing, the newsletters, everything to educate the people. He stood on the front lines with us in time of severe danger. He gave of himself. He was always there to give everything he had to our people, to our struggle. I believe what the old people said, that a man must prove himself to truly know what responsibility is. But this man, his wife, was our people. His children he was his people. And that's why I have the greatest respect for him. And when I was asked to speak about things that were written in this book, and the times I've talked about him, and the things I've learned from him, I was happy to do it. Maybe I exaggerate sometimes, but it deserves exaggeration. Because how many of our people can we look at today? People who are referred to as leaders. Tekarontake never considered himself a leader. He considered himself one of us. And he was there with us. You know, he had guns shoved down his face at roadblocks and, you know, in the sieges. I used to laugh. All the young guys are out there, front line. And him and my grandfather, Louis got his old beat-up 303 British rifle. I don't even know if he'd fighter. My grandfather's walking around with a single shotgun, ready to go to the front lines. And they're just standing there watching as some young men running away to hide because the police are coming in. But those two old guys were walking to the front line. You know, those guys inspired you. They put themselves above all else for the people. They inspired me. Many people have heard many things about me. Some people say it was good. Other people say I'm a monster. But you know, if I wasn't doing anything, nobody would talk about me. But I've done things, and I'm proud of it. I have no regrets. I have no regrets what I've done. No regrets of how I encourage our people to stand and to defend who we are. And people will say to me, oh, you disrespected Rodianeso, the titles. I says, I never had disrespected the titles. Never. I says, it's the people that were sitting there whom I disrespected. When I hear of them and how they abuse our people, how they disrespected our women, how they ignored the children, they as individuals, I have no respect for. But there are others who sit on that bench who have tried their hardest. They have tried to pass on their knowledge and their teachings. Them I respect. It's not everybody. We have a habit of throwing a blanket on everybody. We can't do that. It's not right. From the time we are babies, they bring us into the longhouse. They raise our name. And they say, look at this child. This is what you will refer to this child as. This is the mother of that child. This is the clan of that mother. This is the father of that child. This is the clan of that father. They say, they're complete. Ronaldonism. That's what they say. They say, this child has a very special gift. We don't know what it is because this child is too small. This child has not yet demonstrated what their natural gift is. But as that child learns and is growing up, that child's going to demonstrate who they are. They might be somebody who's showing us their interest in medicine. They might be demonstrating the singing, their dancing, their work in the gardens, their hunting, they're making baskets. They're doing all kinds of things. That's who they are. And they say when we see what their gift is, we get the wisdom. Today people think a shady that means you're going to respect them. That's not what it means. A shady that means you will do everything within yourself to enable that child to be the best that they could possibly be. Because as that child is growing and doing what they like, what is natural to them, they become good at it. And when they become good at it, they feel good, they feel strong. And that strength and benefit will flow to all of us. And my reason for telling you this, I travel all over Ganushinuni. I travel all over. And I travel in other homelands. And the thing I see, and the strongest powers I see, is our women. The women, you all have demonstrated to me so much of your power. But you make a big mistake. You do not look at one another for the strength you carry. Instead, you tear each other down with rumors and gossip. And the reason I focus on you women, that's who you are. You're like this land. You're the one that determines the life that comes here, to show up on this earth, and to take care of all that grows on this land. I'm not just talking about the humans. I'm talking about the animals, the fish, the birds, everything. All the female life, this is what you do. You like that, Ohunsa? That's what you should be doing. Taking things for what they are, and utilizing things for what they are. If it's Oyoga, you use it for what it was intended. If it's Tekarontake, you use it for what it's supposed to be. Ononoro, you use it for what it's supposed to be. Ushkenodu, you use it for what it's supposed to be. You use things for what they're supposed to be. But instead, you look for the things to tear each other down. You never allow your power to be exercised because you're tearing each other down with rumors and gossip. That has to stop. But the men is the same thing. But I think it's more important. If the women are strong, if the women are together, then we have purpose. Now we can say, like that sun, we will warm up this earth. We will give you the light. We will give you all the support. But if that life isn't appearing on this earth, what's the purpose of the sun? You have to start working together. Put aside the rumors and gossip. Use these 2 eyes to see the truth. Use those 2 ears to hear the truth. But yet, that one mouth you have should tell the truth. And not repeat. Because even in the condolence, when they put somebody up, that's the first thing they say. Not for them to listen to rumors and gossip. That it is said to the people, if you involve them in rumors and gossip, you are committing a great wrong. When I got married, that's what they told me. There's going to be people who are going to come around and try to put things in my head, things in my wife's head, and that to cause us to fight and to separate. And if we're at odds, how are we going to have a good life? How are we going to raise children properly? They said, don't listen to them. Don't listen to anything unless you've seen it with your own eyes and heard it with your own ears. That will be the truth. This Ratinihokarenas, they're there only to cause problem. But the thing they said was, but they are necessary. He says the ones who spread rumors and gossip are necessary. That's their nature. He said the reason they're necessary is to keep us on our toes and to understand that life isn't always what you think it is. These people keep you on your toes. They keep reminding you of what is good and what is bad. You know, all these things we talk about, our ceremonies and so on, they were not things to connect us to imaginary powers or imaginary beings. These were all things that were told to us. These were all things that we were supposed to carry out to remind us, to be grateful. That's why we started to remind us why we're here, and how we're here, and what responsibility we have, so that this is here for our children and for the faces that are still coming. This is what these things are all for. You know, everywhere I go, everybody wants to give me oyopa'omo, they want to give me sweet grass, they want to give me sage, they give me clam shells and all this kind of stuff. And it kind of hurts me. And I don't want to tell them what I really think. So I accept that, because it makes them feel good. But you know something? In my own lifetime, I've seen my people burn tractor trailer loads of oyopa'omo. All the time they're asking, Suwa Dijo, I want this. Suwa Dijo, I want that. I was this small, I was so tough. She used to always say, don't you ask for anything. You got no right to ask for anything. Just when you came to be, when you were created, you were given 2 eyes, 2 ears, you were given a brain, you were given hands, feet, legs, so that you could have all the things you need to utilize to survive. You already have. You've been made perfect by creation. All the food is here. All the medicine is here. The water is here. The air is here. The sun is here. All these things are here. It says, Nahodo disaboktani. What is it you're missing? You have to take the initiative. When you're hungry, you can't be sitting under a tree and think if you rub a steak on your belly, you're going to satisfy your hunger. Or you're under the tree, you're drying out, and you're expecting somebody's going to give you a drink. No, you get up. You go and get your food. You get up, you go and get that water. You're sick, you go and get that medicine. Because it's all here. And today, Oklahoma, we're looking for a Messiah. Somebody will come and save us. And we're all sitting in front of TV watching Kardashians. How's that going to fix that? We can burn 20,000 containers of oyopa'omo. And we're not going to get what we're asking for. We're not. I've seen it since I was a child. And I haven't seen the miracles happen. The only time I've ever seen anything happen was those of us of like minds got together and did something. We were criticized often, and we were criticized by so many people for so many things we've done. A couple of years later, these same people who criticized us come and say, no, if it wasn't for you, my children wouldn't be living in Ganawaka. No, always no after the fact. The benefits they appreciated. But they didn't appreciate the people who took the action to make it happen. So we're the bad guys. We're not just going to get they took that Rihanna who violated our people. It scared everybody. It scared everybody because they were told to be afraid. We got so used to being told what to do. We believe everything we're told. We don't question. You know this thing between your ears? Oh, negura. It means it's going to take care of you if you use it. And nobody else is supposed to tell you if your mind is good or not. You have been created to know the difference between right and wrong, good and bad. You have that ability. But these people want to control your mind. This book is not to tell you what to do. This book, hopefully, would inspire you to finally use what you have. Use what you have. Have your voice heard. You know what you want. Don't let somebody else tell you what you want. Tell you what's good for you. We're not sheep. We're not sheep to have a shepherd to decide which one of us is going to be here, which one of us is going to become mutton, and which one of us is going to be allowed to continue to populate. We're not sheep. We don't need a shepherd. We have our own right here. It's called Wotnegura. And it's yours. Nobody else has a right to control that. Only you. That's yours. To exercise that is your birthright. Creation gave you that, not other people. Creation gave you that. And it's yours to use. And whatever decisions you make is your decision. Good or bad, it's your decision. But understand, the decisions you make is your responsibility, not someone else. From the time you're a little kid, you got in trouble. You said, wasn't me, it was him. Wasn't me, it was her. It's always you deflect that to somebody else. Because that's small. We already start learning how to blame somebody else for our failures. That's us. And you know something? Me standing here, I'm not telling you anything you didn't already know. You already knew all this. But I'm just helping you to bring it to the surface. I'm trying to help you to recognize who and what you are. That's all I'm doing. You know, I don't have the 10 tablets to tell you what to do. I don't. All I know is what I've been taught. And that's all I'm passing on to you. My mind is not greater than yours. My mind is not. It's equal to yours. But it depends how we use it. We can use that mind to help one another, to benefit one another. We are all over the world talking about our way, peace and harmony. And the whole world says, oh, you people, you have such a beautiful life. Yeah, well, when they get over here, they find out that's not so. All we're doing is buffalo speeching, bullshit, and we get paid for it. That's all. We're out there to try to inspire them. Because our people did that from the first time the white man came to this land. We sent 5 representatives to talk to all the monarchs of Europe, the 13 ruling families. We sent them. And they went with Ojohuanhuxta. They went with the Yohade. They went with the Ayawata. They went with all of these belts. And they recited all those belts, trying to encourage them to create a world of peace and harmony. 12 of those 13 families turned their backs on it. They turned their backs on it because these royal people would actually have to share and do their part. And there was no way they were going to do that. Only one family, one of the royal families from Russia, started to contemplate the idea of Kayanregoa. And the reward they got from the other 12 families was the complete annihilation of that bloodline. They killed every man, woman, and child in that bloodline so that this way of life would never flourish. And we're still doing it today. We still have people going to the United Nations. We have people traveling around the world trying to bring this. But now we're getting pushed aside because we have the phonies going out there and honoring such a thing as the George Washington Belt. Saying our treaty, the George Washington Belt, that's not a treaty. That was something George Washington commissioned an Oneida to put this belt together because he had the desire that someday he would take Anushununi Umwe and stick it in the jurisdiction of the White House. Look at that belt. It's right there, it shows you. And the same people are running around all the time, every year, to commemorate the Treaty of 1794, Canandaigua. We have never accepted that. We have never approved it. We have never sanctioned it. Because when the United States, in 1794, sat with our people to talk about the relationship we would have, the war chief at that time, who spoke for the Tekarontake, name was Aaron Hill. And on the Senecas, it was Red Jacket. The Mohawks and the Senecas did not accept that because both Aaron Hill and Red Jacket had been formally educated. They could read and write. So at that treaty signing, they asked, before they signed anything, they said to the United States commissioners, we want to read your treaty. We want to read what you wrote. And the commissioners, they said, no. They said, this is our way to put it on paper. You put those words into your wampum. And Aaron Hill says, we're not disputing that. We know that's your way and this is our way. But we want to make sure that the words you put in that paper was the same words we're going to put in our wampum. They wouldn't allow us to read it. Why? So the Mohawks and Seneca refused to sign it. Only later on in years, somebody put a mark on there saying it was Red Jackets. Didn't accept it. And if all the five did not agree, then it was not legitimate. All the Haudenosaunee had to agree to something before it became legitimate. To this day, we know we have not signed it. But we have people who've gone to Washington, they get these big photo ops and say, look, we're standing shoulder to shoulder, buddy to buddy with the people who are trying to destroy us. We are one. And we're here to honor the Canandaigua. No. We never accepted that. And you can talk about the 1789 for Harmer. That's no good. Because they had already broken. 1784, that was no good because they already violated it. That's why the United States had to keep suing us for treaties. And even if the 1794 had been signed, they would have broke that too. So each time they broke it, it reverts back to the original way, which would always be the way of the Yunga. That's how treaties work. But yet we have people, maybe they know, maybe they don't, but they're out there doing something very stupid that hurts all of us. It hurts our children. It hurts our grandchildren. They are making decisions on their own to claim that they represent. They do not represent. If they have not brought these matters to the people, for the people to analyze and dissect, if they haven't done that, then they represent no one but themselves. They represent no one but themselves. And today, it's a sad state of affairs. We have elected system people who claim they represent our people. We have people who call themselves Haudenosaunee and say they represent our people. But before our very eyes, we know they don't. But we're all told that we shouldn't voice our thoughts because we'll be disrespecting them. Disrespect, I'd rather kick their ass. Never mind disrespect. You know, nobody represents me. I represent myself. You know, creation gave me a brain. It gave me the ability. And I'm going to exercise it. And I encourage everyone to exercise it. You don't have to agree with me, but at least use what you have because it's yours. It's yours. And no one should claim to represent you unless you've delegated them. If they have not been delegated to raise your words, see, a Royaner has no right to express his opinion. The only opinion he's ever to express is the opinion of his family. That's the only opinion. The moment he starts exercising his own opinion, he's in violation. Because he was not put there to represent himself. He was there to represent his family. So to me, that book, when people say to us throughout the years, and I've been involved in this quite a number of years. I can't tell you my age because it's a military secret. But, you know, I was 5 years old the first time I was brought into the struggle. When my family took over land in the Mohawk Valley because of the nonsense that was going on in the reservations. I was 5 years old. And my memory of that place was one of the most beautiful. But we were only there for about a year and a half. And we left. I never understood why. And I used to always say to my grandmother, why did we leave? It was so nice there. Why did we leave? Because as a child, you're swimming and playing and running through gardens and whatnot. It's fun. Hunting pigeons and rabbits or whatever, watching my uncles. It was nice. You had them on, they trying to teach us how to sing and dance. That was nice. And Maguire, all these old-timers that were there, it was so nice. And I wondered, why did we leave? Except I should just say, listen and learn. Someday we're going to return. I was 5. At 20 years old, I was part of taking over land in Tekarontake. Bringing all those memories, all that inspiration, went and was a part of taking that land. And you know, when we set out to do it, you know what everybody said? You can't do that. You can't. They're going to kill you. They're going to put you in prison. They're going to beat you up. You can't do that. But I was listening to God and others. They always said to me, there's no such thing as you can't. There is no such thing. You will or you won't. But to say I can, it's not true. Sometimes you can't yourself do something. But with the help of the others, you can do anything you want. But you got to believe in it. You got to believe in yourself. And you got to be prepared to make the sacrifice. Sometimes what you do is not going to be pleasant, but you're going to do it. Each time we sat in bunkers, waiting for the police or the Marines or somebody to attack us, all the time in my mind I'm saying, they can't get by me. I will not let them get by me. There's no way to get by me. Because I know my family and everybody else is inside. They depend on me. You had no time to be afraid. You had no time for that. It wasn't about you. It was about what you were protecting, what you were defending, what you were trying to ensure that there'd be a future. That's what you're in there for. I never liked picking up a gun. I never wanted to shoot nobody. But if I was pushed into that situation, I would. Not any different from that mouse. The cat, the bear, the dog can corner that mouse. And that mouse will try to avoid confrontation. But corner the mouse. As small as the mouse is, the mouse will use his nails and he'll use his teeth to defend himself. As small as he is, he will do it. And hopefully he can survive. But he will do it. Because creation puts something inside him. Something in his mind. It's called self-preservation. There's not a living thing on this earth that doesn't have that. Self-preservation. Creation intended all things to go on, to live on, and to continue to live. That's what creation made sure. Because if that self-preservation wasn't in the life that is on this land, in the water that flies in the air, if it was not there, there would be nothing on this earth. There would be no birds, there would be no fish, there would be no deer, rabbits, or humans. Because self-preservation tells us we must go on. And we have a brain to help us. And we have the ability to make the decision to go on. And not just gather together and say, we're here because we think of the faces that are still in the earth. Those words are not going to do it. Those words are not going to protect the future. It's our action. It's our action that's going to make it happen. And if there are those around us who are causing that not to happen, we need to straighten it out. We need to take care of it. And we got the power to do it. We got the power. And that's why I like this, got these structure coming together. And to start looking again, to re-empower our people. We don't need healing. We are not a sick people. We are an oppressed people. And we need empowerment. And the only one who can do that is us. And not some guy flying out of the sky to help us out. That ain't going to happen. We run tractor trailer loads, asking that creature up there to help us, and he hasn't done nothing yet. Where was Yeshua Abizur when they stole thousands of children? Where was Yeshua Abizur when they're raping all our women? Where was Yeshua Abizur when the atrocities they committed to our men? When they stole our lands, stole our way of life? Where was Yeshua Abizur? And I tell people, because I hear people say, Yeshua Abizur gave us our language. Yeshua Abizur gave us our ceremonies, our songs. Yeshua Abizur gave us all this. So, yeah, that's good. But if you're going to attribute all these good things to him, then he must be the one responsible for the death and murder and the rape of all those children. He must be responsible for what they've done to our women, what they've done to our people, how they dispossessed us of our right to our mother. He said, the day's going to come, if he does exist, and if I run into him, I'm going to beat the shit out of him. Because he's done more bad to us than good. It's enough now. Oroguillo, gariguillo. Oroguillo is there is no question that that's real. Gariguillo is the way of the reality. That's what we have to live by. What's true and real. Our eyes tell us if something is real. Our ears will tell us if something is real. That's what we have to work with. That's what we have to work with. When the United States was trying to take over Canada, coming up the military turnpike, 14,000 strong, to invade Canada, they had to come to Guatemala. And General Brock comes to Guatemala and says, hey, the Americans are coming. And Guatemala at that time, the most was probably 200 people. He says, they're coming through here to attack Montreal. Our people, so what? That had nothing to do with us. He says, it does. Because when that army comes through, they're going to come to your community. And they're going to rape your women. They're going to abuse your children. They're going to kill the men. And they're going to take all your food. Now, do you say it doesn't affect you? So, Ganong said, well, let's send a runner to Venezuela. Let's send a runner to Aguizas. And we mustered up a force of 250 Rodisco Raguete. Rodisco Raguete went to the border what we know as a border today. It's between Shady, New York, and Armstrong. Our people waited for the Americans to come, and we kicked their ass. We sent them running back the military turnpike. The Americans were never able to take over Canada because of those 250 Kanyagahaga. Because we fought our way, they fought stupid. They would come in formation, beating drums, going on flutes and marching, and not defending themselves until they were told to. And so it was like shooting what they call fish in a barrel. So our men fought from behind the trees, from behind the bushes, from behind the rocks. We fought Ugamuwa style. Today they call it guerrilla style. But we didn't have veggie ducks here, so we fought Ugamuwa style. And we beat them. And we sent them back down that. All the battles that was ever won, it was won by Ugamuwa. It wasn't won by them. They used us to fight their battles. And always we were outnumbered. Battle of the Plains of Abraham. 1,000 Rodino Shuni to defeat the thousands of French, because the British couldn't do it. But they never gave us acknowledgement of what we've done. But that's not really that important. The fact of the matter is we know we did it. We know we did it. And we can be proud, because our spirit is so strong. That's what I'm saying to you. You have it in you. Just start exercising it. Just exercise. You know what's good. You know what's right. You love your children. You'll find it in yourself. You love your grandchildren. You'll find it in yourself. And the thing though, I say to older people, don't stand in the way of these young people. The struggle that's going on today is for their future, their lives. For us, many of us, if we're here next week, we're lucky. We don't have that much time. We don't have to join the struggle, but we don't need to speak against them. We don't need to speak against them. It's their life. They're the ones with the families now. But be prepared to share what we know. But let's not tell them what to do. And that's what I admire about Tekarontake and those men and women at that time. They shared with us all the knowledge, but they never told us what to do. They always had enough respect for us to make up our own minds and to determine what we're going to do. And when we decided we're going to go into the mountains and take that land, we did it because of what they taught us. And they didn't go against us. They even came with us. And that's what we should do. I mean, I'm 21 now. I can find myself supporting my children, my grandchildren, because that's my place. It's not about me. I've exercised my birthright. Now I'd like to protect theirs. So like I usually tell people, I'm not a man of many words. I'd like to, give the microphone back, and maybe people have questions. And I'm sure the people with so much knowledge whom I travel with can answer these questions. And maybe there's people here who live here who can answer those questions. Because I might look like I know it all, but I don't. So now it was what don't see us then.